there's a great restaurant that my daughter and I like called Kanzai, and it's like I don't know where it's Japanese or what it is, but it's one of those deals where they cook your food on the table and they're throwing the knives up in the air and the whole bit. It's very entertaining. And what I learned was these people are professional as far as building rapport. And I read an article about it, and the next time my daughter Shelby and I went up there, I watched it. And what they do, the chef comes to the table and there's a wingman with him. And you're kind of like, what's this guy doing? But he's in all black, and he comes there. And so what happens is, within the first minute, this chef kind of goes around the table and finds out stuff about you, like, what's your day off? Do you have kids? What are your hobbies? I mean, it's just, and so the night we were there, he found out this one guy was off on Thursdays. That was his favorite night to go out and do this. Other lady had 2 small children. Somebody else had something. Then within the second minute, he learned another group of things about them. And then we noticed that, like in about 2.5 minutes to 3 minutes, he tried a joke. And the first one bombed. I mean, I thought it was kind of funny, but it bombed. And so then the wingman said something to him, which was probably used the next joke. And he uses another joke, and the whole table just cracks up. So what he had done in 3 minutes, he had gained rapport with that entire table. So throughout the process, when he was cooking the food and doing the knife tricks and everything, and taking the egg and throwing it and all the stuff they do, I mean, he owned them. He kept making references to Thursday night and to the kids, and your husband needs to lose weight, and all this stuff, and they were laughing and everything. And they left a $50 tip. And I was just amazed. I mean, you've been there, you've seen the restaurant. I mean, it's not a place where people leave $50 tips. And the thing that was I thought was pretty amazing was the one night my daughter and I stayed there a little bit later, and of course they all acted like they barely understood English. So after they were done, they kind of huddled, and it was kind of neat. They kind of discussed how it went, and then they all spoke perfect English. And the wingman was, I think he was their teacher, and he said, that was great. You got rapport with them. They didn't use the word rapport. They used some other word, but he said, you connected right away. You found out this one was funny. This one didn't really want to be there, so don't go with him. And he says, then you tried the joke, it didn't work, and you immediately came back with one that did work, got them all laughing. And he said, from that point, you owned them, and you got a $50 tip. And I thought, well, wow, what could Dennis learn by going to a place like that and watching? And my other favorite place to go, not because I'm prissy or anything, but I get my nails and feet done, at a manicure place, and it's Vietnamese people. They're very, very bright, and they're the same way. They develop incredible rapport with you. I mean, they'll try one area. Do you like sports? Or then they'll go, do you have kids? But they find out right away something about you, and it's never about them. I mean, I don't know anything about them because they're very private. And it's the same way. I mean, they work you, do different things. And really, the thing I learned last time that was incredible, I had my feet done, and evidently the skin was too dry on one side, and so I was getting the biggest upsell you've ever seen. Like, oh, you need to come in 3 months, or this is going to happen, your toe's going to fall off, and and I'm like, oh my God, this is just like a hygienist. I mean, she is just like giving me all these reasons why I have to come back in 3 months, or all these bad things are going to happen. So, one of the things I've learned from Tony Robbins is that, find people who are getting the results you want and copy what they're doing. And, Tony was challenged at one point in his life to run 100 miles in a day. And he's like, I'm 6'8", I got a bad back, how am I going to do that? And he found a college professor that had run, or did run, like 150 miles a day. And so he went, and he said, okay, tell me what you're eating, tell me what your program is, tell me what you, and so he copied all that, and within, I can't remember if it was 6 months or 8 months, he actually ran 100 miles. So my point is that, rather than going to a boring dental lecture about building rapport, go into the real world and see, like, this restaurant we were talking about, or go into a Vietnamese nail and pedicure place and see how it's really done, because they are very, very smart people. And I was joking with Colin, you'll also notice that the credit card processing machine never works, because they want cash. In fact, I've been there 8 times, and 7 out of 8 it's not working, which to me is not just a happenstance.